Elyse DeLucci Show, episode 72. We're here on my apartment on the Upper East Side. How you doing? Oh, it's hot out there. I have to turn the air conditioner off, though, when I record this, because I don't want you to hear an annoying buzz in the background. Fact of the day. Well, I have two facts of the day. But this one I thought was so funny because I never heard of it, and I work in tech. But Google, obviously the search engine, do you know what it was going to be named before they named it Google? Backrub. Backrub. Can you imagine? Oh, yeah, why don't you just go look on backrub.com? There's like some sexual annotations with that. I think that would be weird. It would be, imagine the world's largest search appliance on the web, Backrub. Why don't we just call it Handjob? That's horrible. That's literally a horrible name. And Google is like the world's largest number. You know, not spelled how we spell it on the search engine. But this is all news to me. I literally had no idea. And the only reason why I looked it up is because I said to my daughter, she said something about money. And I said, how much money? And she said, a Google. I said, a Google? And she's like, yeah, Mommy, that's more money than anything in the whole entire world. And and I'm like, really? And then, of course, I look online, and that's the truth. And I was embarrassed because I should know that. And then I get into the deep web of insanity, searching at 3 a.m, like Google things, and I hear backrub. But the second fact is also so interesting to me. Do you know that the Native Americans, they sold Manhattan. They sold Manhattan in the 1600s. They sold Manhattan and some beads and trinkets that they had lying around for guess how much? $16. $16. They sold the best city in the whole world for $16. If only they were able to see the future. You can't forget a whole city. You can't even get a square foot for $16. You know what? I can't get even an extra value meal at McDonald's for $16. But you sold the whole damn city. And let me tell you something. In this article, they talked about compound interest. That's really what the article was about. It was about compound interest. And if the Native Americans invested $16, the money that they sold Manhattan for in the 1600s, compound interest, do you know how much money they would have today? Do you know? 400 years ago, $222 trillion. $222 trillion. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to me, but that's the case. Compound interest and selling Manhattan in the 1600s for $16. You know, this reminds me. I'm always walking around the city, and I like when I see, buildings or townhouses that have the national landmarks or the historical landmarks, whatever it is. They have like usually a plate outside the building, and I always stop and look. And I stopped and looked at a building a few weeks ago. And then I Googled it. I don't know. It was from the late 1800s. And I started seeing these pictures of Manhattan from the late 1800s. And if you're ever curious, you should look at them. It's like there was downtown, like where the tenements were, Lower East Side, Wall Street area, Greenwich Village. But then uptown, it was completely farmland and deserted. So where I live on the Upper East Side, there was nothing here. Nothing here. And it's funny because you do see the occasional sort of carriage house, uptown, or, house that just looks like it should be in the South somewhere. And you're like, and all around it are the big glass skyscrapers and whatnot. And you kind of like, what the hell? How did that happen? But it's because, hundreds of years ago, somebody, I guess, I don't know, they wanted to live outside of what they called the city. They wanted to live uptown where there was the farmland and grass and sheep grazing all over. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And they put up a little house and it stayed, and whoever now bought it and whatever. But it's so interesting. I had no idea. Of course I knew that the city built up over time, but it's hard for me to imagine, dirt roads and horses just roaming free, in Midtown East sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of the South, I'm headed to Savannah, Georgia. This weekend. Not to perform. It's actually one of my cousin's weddings, another cousin. Their wedding, they rescheduled it a bunch of times. Hold on, let me take a sip. They rescheduled it a bunch of times, and it was supposed to be a cruise. But now they settled on Savannah. And I've never been to Savannah. Have you been to Savannah? I've never been there. But all I know is the wedding's going to be great. But, I mean, Savannah in the summer, outside, I mean, I'm telling you, there better be air conditioning because I chafe so bad. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to bring baby powder. And I don't even have a dress. It's ridiculous. I ordered stuff online. It still didn't come. It's like, a couple days before the wedding. Oh, what a disaster. What a disaster. But I am excited to go. And I definitely want to have... like some biscuits and fried chicken, whatever they have there. And I know if you're listening to this and you're from Georgia, you're like, is this girl so ignorant? I'm not ignorant. I just haven't been to Savannah. I've been to Atlanta plenty of times. And every time I go to Atlanta, everything is called Peachtree. Do you know how confusing this is? Have you been to Atlanta? Are you from this area? Because every street you go on, make a right on Peachtree, make a right on Peachtree South, make a left on Peachtree North. It's like, really, who decided that that's a good way to lay out the city? So I just took a sip of this new water I bought. I'm sure you've seen it or heard of it. It's called Essentia. Yeah, Essentia. I'm a marketer's dream, by the way. I am a marketer's dream. I am embarrassed to say this because I am and I'm not. I tell myself I don't buy into all this bunch of bullshit, but then, sometimes I really do. All these people are running around the city with these bottles of water, giant bottles of water, and with this black label with like sort of a red cross looking, little cross plus sign, red and white. And it's called, this is so ridiculous, Overachieving H2O. So I'm shopping in Costco on Instacart, though. I wasn't in the store. And they had a case of this water, Essentia water, and it was like, 12 bottles of water for $20. Yeah, that's right. I could get water for free out of my kitchen sink, but this was 12 bottles of water for $20. And it was this Essentia water. So I said, let me try it. Let me see what the hype is about. Okay? Apparently, this is, one of these waters that has I don't know. Does it have that like added alkaline or is that even right? I don't even know. No, that's I think something they add in batteries. It's some shit with the pH, okay? It's just some shit with the pH. So I'm like, I'm going to buy this water and I'm going to see what the hype is about. This tastes like any other water that I've ever had. And it's funny because first of all, let me say, I don't even know why I bought this, and I feel like this is a sign of getting older. A sign of getting older is when you're like, oh, I'm going to try that new bottled water. It's like, that's just like when you're old and you're tired. Because you can't even be like, oh, I want to go try that new bottle of tequila. No, this is like, let me go try the new water. Before this, I had bought Smart Water, a case of Smart Water, which also annoyed me because that's another, I feel like, obnoxious brand. Like, they only sell Smart Water at SoulCycle. Like, what, you too good for Poland Spring, SoulCycle? But my boyfriend came over one day, and he's like, I don't like this water. I said, what do you mean? It's Smart Water. It's like the designer. It's like the Gucci of waters. What do you mean? It cost me $16 for 16 bottles at Costco. He doesn't like it. You know what he tells me? He likes Fiji. Now, that to me is a disgusting water. And I can't even believe I'm saying this because it's ridiculous. Waters usually all taste the same to me. Dasani, Poland Spring, New York Tap. The only thing that tastes different in this Essentia, Smart Water, the two waters that taste different to me are the water in New Jersey and Fiji water. Fiji in the square bottle. I think you should do a water taste test. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do a water taste test at home. I'm going to do it with my boyfriend. He's not even going to know. I'm going to take some Smart Water. I'm going to pour it into a Fiji bottle. Let's see if this guy knows the difference, okay? Because he's ridiculous. But I will say, I don't like the Fiji water. For whatever reason, there has a funny taste. I don't know if it's like a mineral taste, but that's my thought on Essentia water. Do I think it's anything special except that it has a chic packaging of clear black, white, and red? Oh, I see. This is what it says here. I'm looking at the side. Essentia, overachieving H2, ionized hydration, 9.5 pH or higher, Purified water, electrolytes, fatigue. You know what? I don't even know what this means. I mean, you might as well tell me there's a whole ton of shit MSG in there and I wouldn't even know the difference. My God. But that's where I'm at these days. That's how I'm getting my kicks, if you were curious. The Delta variant. Oh, look at this. Work's blowing up my phone. Like, don't they know I'm doing a podcast? Don't blow up my phone. I mean, I should put my phone on silent, but, God forbid. When you have kids, you never get to put your phone on silent. What is that about? You just can't. Every time I put my phone on silent, I automatically have a guilty feeling. Like, what if the school calls me and tells me there's been a crazy emergency? And then what? Oh, it was on silent because I didn't want the beeps to give me anxiety. The work beeps. Oh, here they go again. Anyway, so the Delta variant all over the place. I was just in a nail salon and they said that they were going to have to wear, New York City is saying that the kids, when they go back to school, New York City public schools, they're going to have to wear masks again. And, oh, my God. You know what? I'm going to turn this shit off because these people, they're workaholics. They don't understand what it's like to live your life, baby. Anyway. Oh, man. I mean, my kids don't even know any different. When my youngest was 3 years old when this whole shit started. So she just thinks masks is the way of life. But it makes me sad. I mean, these kids going to be in school again with masks. I hope that this whole thing goes away. I went to my office in Long Island. I think I told you I had an office in Long Island. I went to my office in Long Island the other day, and they wanted us to meet in the boardroom. They had a meeting, and they said, "Oh, Elyse, it's going to be in the boardroom. Why don't you join us?" I hope nobody from my job is listening to this because I like them and I like the company and the job's great. But I did not want to go into the boardroom. I'm not comfortable. So I said, do you mind if I dial in? And they didn't mind. I stayed at my desk. I dialed in the call on video, the whole thing. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. In my world here in Manhattan, I'm still wearing the mask. I'm still very much in this thing. I can't walk a lot. In a lot of stores in the city, you need your mask. The stores require it. There's a sign outside the stores. Please wear your mask if you're going to come into our nail salon. So you got to do it. I got my eyebrows threaded the other day. There was a sign, and it says, wear your mask. I didn't wear my mask. I didn't have a mask. I walk in, no service. It used to be no shoes, no service, no shirt. Now it's no mask, no service. And on the buses and on the subway, the other day, I walked to the bus, and I waited 5 minutes at the bus stop, and the bus driver, when it finally came, I wasn't thinking, would not let me on. I had to go back home and get the mask. And yes, I should have just kept a mask in my back pocket. The problem is that I ran out of some of the black medical masks. I got to reorder them. And I was being cheap. I'm like, why am I going to order another box of masks? Like, I'm sure this shit's going to be over like tomorrow. But no, I just placed another order for another 1,000 masks, making my life real happy. But my job, my company, they didn't understand. They did not understand that I didn't want to be in a conference room with 1,000 people doing a meeting that I could easily do dialing in. Like, you don't need to see me that bad. I mean, I've gained, like, the COVID-19, like probably all of you, and we're all getting along just peachy on the video calls. I wonder how it's going at your job. I mean, people are just the thing is people, like I've been saying this, people there are just acting like this didn't happen, and it did happen. It is happening, and they're like, everything's going back to normal. We're back. Really? But what about everybody's mental health? What about that? One of my friends, he works for an institutional investment firm here in Manhattan. We've been friends since college. He's super smart guy, so down to earth. His company, they went back to the office last month, and he has a place in Manhattan, and he also has a small apartment out east, and or a small house out east. He has a girlfriend. Unfortunately, for all you single girls out there, don't think I didn't think about you. He's Greek. But anyway. He's just not going in. He's protesting. And the company, they need him. So it's a fine line. Some of us, we're walking right now because we need our jobs. We need our paychecks, but they also need us. But, they're calling this the great, not the great recession, the great, I don't even know, something where people are like leaving their jobs. I should know that before I mention it on the podcast. But, whatever, we're friends. It's fine. I was at Gotham Comedy Club a lot last week. Jerry Seinfeld was there 4 nights in a row. Oh, my God, that's such a treat. Even if his humor wasn't for you. I like Jerry. He makes me laugh. But even if his humor wasn't for you, to go and see a man that has achieved that kind of success with his television shows and all of his writing and movies and specials, to go see him show up at a club on a weekday at 7 o'clock and do, 20, 30-minute sets for free, because he's just dropping in as a guest, like it's just literally dropping in just to work on his craft, is so inspiring to me. I mean, it just goes to show you, in my opinion, how money doesn't buy happiness. This guy has all the money in the world and what he's getting paid on royalty checks and, whatever for his shows and movies. But what is he doing in his spare time? No, he's not on the yacht in the Mediterranean giving everybody the finger. No, he's in the clubs with all of the other working, struggling comics like myself, grinding it out on stage. Now he gets a crazy applause. People jump out of their seats and they start singing and dancing, but it is just like the nicest thing to watch, because one, he's hilarious. Two, I mean, it is Jerry Seinfeld, but all of that aside, it's just watching somebody that loves what they do so much that they're just coming up here just to work the craft and get better and come up with new jokes, and it's just the love. It's the love, and I love getting to watch that. So I went to the Friars Club also last week. That was wonderful. That was a wonderful experience. I might become a friar. We'll see. That's in the works. But they had a caviar and vodka tasting, and I went with a couple of my friends. And let me tell you something. Caviar? Nah, not for me. Do you like caviar? Do you like this? Fish roe? Now, look, one man took me on a date, okay? Now, he took me, I'll never forget this, a few years ago. He says, oh, I booked a beautiful restaurant, blah, blah, wear something nice. And I'm thinking, how dare you insult me? Of course, I'm going to wear something gorgeous. But okay. So we get to the place, the meeting place. I met him, and we're in the city, so no one's picking me up at the house. I met him at the restaurant. I think, if I remember correctly, it was on Madison Avenue, second floor. And it was called, I think, if I remember again correctly, Caviar Roos. And I didn't know what it was really, except once I saw the name, but it was a caviar restaurant. I didn't even know what to do in there. First of all, I love fish, but I'm not and I like sushi, but I'm not one of these sushi eaters I'm not a sophisticated sushi eater, and I am not afraid to say that. I don't sit down and let me have the fish of the day. Let me get that orange uni. Oh my God, I love that umami taste in my mouth. That's not me. I own it, and I own it. And when they put the roe on top of the rolls, I wish it didn't even come. Save you money, at least for my order. So I'm on this date, and this guy, and he's, ordering caviar. And, and you're supposed to eat it slow and drink vodka with it. First of all, I was drunk in 10 minutes, okay? And second of all, I was starving, because all I had was tiny unhatched fish babies on, freaking crackers, or maybe on a piece of endive. It was not my kind of night out. But we went to the caviar tasting, and I had a conversation. I'm like, when was caviar even invented? Who came up with the idea of, let's gut the fish, take out the babies, smear it on a cracker, and eat it? In year 1240, the monarch of Mongol, Batu Khan. That's what I read. Batu Khan. Who the hell knows who he is? But that's when caviar first hit the scene. He was the commander-in-chief of the Mongolian Empire, and he's the guy. He was responsible in that time for invading Europe. And you know what else? I guess he was responsible for caviar, or at least introducing it to the rest of the world. And it's from the Caspian Sea, Russia, Kazakhstan, whatever. It's a big, 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 huge deal to these people and to lots of people. At the caviar tasting at the Friars Club, they had black caviar, which I think is the best, the finest. And then they had orange caviar, which was larger and more round. And I had both. The black was very salty, and but it tasted fresh. But the orange was a more pleasant taste, because I couldn't really tell what I was eating, so I was fine with the almost the blandness of the orange caviar beads. I took a picture and I sent it to one of my friends. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, I'm doing what they're doing. I'm eating caviar and a slice of cucumber, and I'm pretending to like it. That's exactly what I'm doing. I was in the store the other day, and this girl was talking about Depop, this app Depop. She was like, "Oh yeah, you could buy it on my Depop." And this is when I felt old. This is when I felt old because I had no idea what the F Depop is. So you should download it. Depop, D-E-P-O-P, if you don't know it. It's an online marketplace that lets people, buy and sell clothes remotely. So you could be a store and you could sell your stuff on Depop. You could have some shit in your house. You want to sell an old pair of Nikes, you could sell it on Depop. And it has, apparently the whole thing with the app is that it has a lot of flexibility. I'm not gonna lie. I downloaded the app. I was looking for a Fila velour jacket. I know, very specific. I didn't know if they had. I don't know if it was used, new. I didn't know, but I wanted to see if they had any because it's slim pickings in the women's area of the Fila website in terms of velour, and I couldn't. I couldn't believe they had quite a few items, like once I typed it in, but they were all used. And so I don't know if it's like a more fresh eBay for Gen Z. That's what it seems to be. And when I really was like, what the hell is Depop? I should use this because I work in that world. I saw Etsy acquired Depop. Okay, brace yourself. $1.6 billion. So basically what I'm telling you is that probably a couple kids in a garage created a eBay Lite app for their peers, kept this shit running, got mass adoption, and then Etsy turns around and buys that for $1.6 billion. That must be nice. Must be nice. That kid's like going home. Ma, you know what? I'm going to move out. Yep, I saw, that little project I was working on that you never understood? That project that you always told me I was crazy and like get out of the basement? Well, yeah, we're billionaires now, Ma. How'd you like that? Yeah, Depop. When I was at the Friars Club, one of the guys there, he was older. He was in his late 70s. He was so cute, though. He was a Broadway producer, and I loved talking to him. And he was telling me how he had a date at Swing 46 the following night, and I didn't even know they were open, but that's a nightclub in the city, dancing, and if you want to go to Swing 46, you 100% should check it out when you're here. I actually haven't been. I did go actually one time. I went when I went through a period of going to like those kind of places. I was go to this other place like Iguana. They had like salsa dancing at night. That was in Midtown West. I had a whole face. You're never going to believe this. I feel like I'm losing my eyesight. Is that not the craziest thing? One day I woke up and everything on my phone and when I was reading the newspaper was blurry. I could see, I wear contacts and glasses and I use them. I'm nearsighted, so I can't see things super far away. But the other day I woke up and I looked down and literally the paper that I was reading was blurry. The only thing that helped it was when I took off my eyeglasses that I had on. When I take off my eyeglasses and my contacts, everything became so blurry. And I said to myself, well, that's a sign of getting older. Sure is. So I was watching the Mary J. Blige documentary. So good. I recommend it. I didn't finish the whole thing. It's on pause because, as a mother, like, God forbid you finish a whole 80-minute movie in one sitting. Who needs this? Who's screaming? Who wants to sleep in your bed? But it's on Netflix or Amazon. I think it's on Amazon. It's so good. It talks about how she got into the music industry and at 19, she grew up in the projects and at 19, yada yada. Like a friend of a friend introduced her to somebody, and it's again one of those inspiring stories. Like you're just rooting for her. The whole thing. It's really good. I recommend that. And I also watched another good movie on the weekend, which I've never seen, The Accountant with Ben Affleck. Have you seen this? It's like a thriller. He's like Ben Affleck plays this mathematical savant, and he's basically also like gets involved in his clients are very shady. So whether they're white collar criminal clients or mafia or drug lords, and it's all, I don't want to ruin it, but it's all about him as the accountant for these shifty these shifty companies. So that's pretty much it in terms of my entertainment this past week and what I've been doing. I feel like I was at the club every night. You know, obviously my daughters were with their father. Yeah, and then just watching TV and just decompressing. I do want to say, though, product of the week, I was at the, when I was at the spa at the Ritz-Carlton in Florida, remember that? They had the most amazing spray in the shower. I know this sounds crazy, like the shower at the spa. But, you know, I did the sauna, massage, and I wanted to take a shower to rinse off all the oil and all the gook. And when I was in the shower, they had this spray, and it was amazing. You need to try it. The brand is Europe. I just went I just paused this to go in my bathroom and see what the thing is, because I wrote it down. I'm like, spa spray. But it's the brand is European Spa Source. That's the website, EuropeanSpaSource.com. And the spray, it's called the Shower Spa Mist. In the scent is eucalyptus. All you do is in the shower, you spray like 1 or 2 sprays, and you know the eucalyptus steams up. It literally, you feel like you're in a spa every time. So, of course, well, let me say, I bought it, and it was $34, and it was expensive, and I didn't give a shit. I was like, this is great. I go in the shower, and then I come back, and I feel rested and fabulous. In the cart it goes. Seriously, I had the worst day the other day. I was so tired. Everything was just going wrong. And I went in the shower, and I sprayed this thing, and I was standing in a beautiful puff of eucalyptus, and I couldn't believe my luck. Thanks to this shower spray, I felt renewed. My daughter came in the bathroom, she's like, Mommy, what is that smell? And I said to her, oh, it's just something Mommy uses. And she's like, oh, I love it. So I recommend it. The European, what is it again? European Spa Source Shower Mist. Quote of the day by Sigmund Freud. Before you diagnose yourself with depression or low self-esteem, first make sure you're not surrounded by assholes. By Dr. Freud. I love that. I love that quote. Anyway, as always, thank you for listening to the Elyse DeLucci Show. I hope next week when we talk, we'll have lots to talk about and hopefully some show dates. I'll tell you all about my trip to Savannah, and I don't know what's going on in the wonderful world of a stand-up comic. I hope you guys have a great week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.